Hi everyone, I'm back and using a microphone for the first time ever in an intro. I hope you're happy. One person commented that my audio was so bad it made them want to scratch their eyes out, which I found puzzling. Moving on. So there was this bedroom in my house that upon moving in, it was very standard, had white walls, all the charisma of Mitt Romney, and I didn't have the clearest vision of what to do with it, so I just made it storage for a couple of years. Well then, this Midwestern princess got herself cultured with a trip to France where I OD'd on inspiration and decided to make this my Rococo room. You know, with all the grandeur and opulence of Versailles, but hopefully only costing a couple $100. There was just one tiny problem though. The room was now more of a glorified junk drawer with a door. Now, if you were here last year and watched me declutter, renovate, and redecorate this room, you're probably a little bit perplexed as to how I reaccumulated such a hoard. Great question. You see, I will not be answering it this time. Let's get started. The inspiration, ooh la la, oui oui, what we have to work with. I decided to approach sorting through this lifetime of treasures the same way you'd approach eating an elephant. By calling my mom and saying, "Mom, I can't do this, come help." Here we have a blast from the past. Remember that? I appreciated having another body in the room to keep me accountable. Pretty sure she threw some things away when I wasn't looking, but even that I'm grateful for. She was a wonderful help. For the most part. My mom got mad that I was leaving this cardboard in the hallway, so she threw it downstairs. Oh, so much safer than the hallway. That was a mistake. Day 3 of de-hoarding, and this is what we still have. Fun little factoid, this caricature here was done by the guy that does the internet's meanest caricatures. So you know, I must look pretty perfect for mine to end up coming out like this. It was actually done like 15 years ago before he got mean. He's my friend's brother. Binoculars. I got them when I lived in New York to see Broadway things better, but I'm gonna keep these on my windowsill. It's always good to know what the neighbors are up to. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding. This is an ice skate. Very hard to get rid of because ice skates are so expensive, but at some point you have to reconcile with the notion that a singular ice skate will provide you with a very limited experience of ice skating. Toss. Love this. I got it on a thrifting road trip, if you recall. It's so inconvenient. Keep. This is a smell. This is fan mail. I never respond because I don't want to encourage people finding my address, but I always keep it. Just a picture of me as a child. Yikes. The steadfast ones may remember this. I made it out of a used walking mat to signify the era where I let people walk all over me. And even though we're still in that era, I am going to pitch. Stop what you're doing and shop ThredUp. After mailing in bags of my own gently used items, I like to reward myself by backsliding a little with a closet refresh. And ThredUp is so wildly affordable that I challenged myself to create a whole week's wardrobe for under $100. But did I pull it off? Let's find out. Our benevolent sponsor offers a wide variety of high-quality products, many of them new with tags. Some of them new-ish without tags, but so magical and ethereal they'd make a fairy self-conscious. Like this endearing little Zara top. Or take, for instance, these Cupid sandals. Originally $48, but on ThredUp just $11.54. Now I'm sure you're absolutely chewing your fingers off with curiosity asking, Micarah, how do you end up with so many expensive looking pieces without selling a kidney? Filters, darling. I filter by brand, condition, or if I'm feeling really sneaky, I'll set the max price criminally low and then end up with a full wardrobe for less than the price of a single outfit. Doesn't this top make me look like a class president whose daddy actually bought all the votes for them? And doesn't this Zara dress, originally $50 but I paid just $14.29, make me look like I'd date a 1940s cartoon character? Oh, watch this. I put up a cardboard barricade to keep my chickens off the porch. That was real. But my favorite Zara dress has got to be this black baby doll bubble bottom one. I would wear this to a funeral, like only if it was a funeral for a fashion influencer. I have some taste. So try this for a look that says, I'm grieving, but hotly. If you're not hotly grieving though, maybe you'd like to try something like this Shein top. It looks ravishing with these Zara heels, originally $80, but I paid just $16.40. It's the perfect wardrobe for the perfect week full of daily activities like reading, watering my plants, checking my MIP, pretending to check my mailbox, and of course knocking on doors. If you're a chronic calculator user, you've probably already figured out that the original total of all of this is $424, but I paid just $98.16. Shop hundreds of brands for a fraction of the price, all in one place. Tap the link in my description and use my code Micarah50 for 50% off your first purchase, plus free shipping. Thanks, ThredUp. Now I'm going through some childhood things, and I have a real gem. This is the outfit I wore when I did a baton routine to Santa Baby. This is the skirt. This is the top. I would show you pictures, but I'm not going to. Times were different back then. I have a lot of sermon notes, especially from my teen years. And this one, I don't know who gave this sermon, okay, but it says, we need fat Christians, faithful, available, and teachable. This is a remnant of what was definitely one of my better manic episodes. I took a break to check the whipped cream response of my 2 new chickens. Oh, chickens!
Tonto and I clearly needed to teach them a thing or two.
Now, a hoarder is already a difficult person to cure, but a creative hoarder, much more complex. So for instance, many years ago, I was de-hoarding and had so many great t-shirts. And I was like, I could donate these, or I could cut them all up into tiny strips and make yarn out of them. And then the next time I'm de-hoarding, I'm like, it's so hard to get rid of these useless balls of yarn because I spent so much time cutting them up. So why don't I crochet them into a sweater? Which was way too hard. Literally, it's like, so I'm not gonna finish this. But now this, I put in infinitely more hours than even making the yarn. Definitely can't throw it away now. So I will put it into my closet of unfinished wonders. Up here we also have this baby quilt that I started when I was 19 because I was like, surely marriage and children is just around the corner. And now here we are 10 years later. And now, surely, marriage and children is just around the corner, so we're keeping that.
Now I'll finally address your probable question, how, after multiple episodes of de-hoarding, do I still have more to de-hoard? Am I re-hoarding between these episodes? No, in fact, it's scarier than that. This has all been part of the same hoard. Most of what I'm de-hoarding, aside from these holiday Barbie dresses, was accumulated during my childhood, teen years, and early 20s. Before I had a YouTube channel, and back when I was plagued by something called scarcity mindset. And go figure, once I finally started making more than $9 an hour, it went away. I no longer felt the compulsion to bring home every 25-cent garage sale find or free item on the side of the road. And I bring all that up just to say, be gentle with hoarders. They're often dealing with some background of underprivilege, or in their previous life they experienced the Great Depression. Or were a rat, which was the case for me. Anyway, while the urge to hoard evaporated, the stuff was still in my possession, and it's taken me a long time to deal with that, though I'm pleased to say that I'm at least 2/3 of the way through it. Now, I took all the sewing-related things out of that bedroom and moved them to my guest suite / sewing storage room, which I also needed to clean and organize.
We filled up the whole badonk of this Prius, didn't we?
We hastily and speedily unloaded my donations in record time, but then a man approached my dad and struck up a conversation about guitars. I have no idea how the topic surfaced. There wasn't a single instrument in sight, but clearly it struck a chord because they ended up chatting for a good 10 minutes. They parted by mumbling a quick, "Take care," but I know what they meant to say was, "I see you. I see your passion and your unyielding desire for tangible strings, which has survived the eras of synthesizers, Guitar Hero, and now AI-generated music."
You have a new friend?
I do.
While there was still a plethora of objects to sort at this time, I was pretty proud of the size of my donation piles. It felt so indescribably freeing and cathartic to unburden myself from these worldly objects. So I could get me some more, but listen, this time was different. Joann's was going out of business. This will be my last chance to shop at a fabric store till who knows when. I don't live in a metropolitan area. I can't just walk out my front door and find my tush landing upon a subway that's gonna drive me 3 minutes to the nearest 5-story mood. But don't you fret, because before my dresser got the chance to overflow like an erupting polyester volcano, I simply returned to the now post-apocalyptic looking Joann's and procured a few of their finest chariots of organization. Translation, shelves with wheels. Listen, I don't mean to brag, but sometimes it just happens. Like now, I have the best fabric storage system in the whole neighborhood, maybe even the Tri-Hood area. Quick question, and please actually answer, how do you feel about vocal fry? Because it's not something that I realized a lot of people hated, but I guess they do, and my actual talking voice is actually like this. Want a tour of my in-house fabric store? You know that bedroom we were going to make over? Remember, the Mitt Romney one? Well, it was now clean and ready for paint, but I wasn't sure I still had the courage to pursue my dream of a robin's egg blue rococo room. So I turned to you, dear gentle viewer and Instagram follower, and you guys definitely made the right call. I should trust you more often. First, you chose the shade for my wall, so I thought, why not let you choose it all? Let the people speak, let them troll. Should I keep or yeet this mole? Yeah, so basically I've been indecisive about this mole for a long time, but 37,000 people thought I should get it removed, so I went to the dermatologist for the first time in my life. You guys were right again. What an improvement.
Yeah, definitely looks better with the hair down.
So the best part of the dermatologist visit was in the waiting room. An old lady whispered to the lady next to her, "Look at her, she's got some long legs." Then the other old lady looks at me and whispers, "Sheesh, too long." And I used the word whisper generously. For context, this is what I was wearing. Do my legs look too long? Maybe I should put it to an Instagram vote. My favorite feature of this room was the darling little alcove. And since 97% of professionals agree that darling little alcoves are a staple in a rococo room, I opted to really exaggerate this elevated cranny. First, I hung up some wallpaper with the man who birthed me, and let me tell you, if you've never tried wallpapering with this easy hang, easy spray, whatever it's called, it brought us the most joy that we'd experienced since like a few minutes before when I saw a bird on the roof. I was so happy that the bird lottery chose me, but then the bird flew away and I was sad. And then I remembered I have a bird and I was okay. And then we tried this easy hang spray and I was happy again. And now you're all caught up, except that we did put up the crown molding. Did you see that? And then I ran to the other room where Valerie was recording a music video. My hope was to get the Rococo room done within a couple weeks so that she could utilize it in the music video too. To trim out my darling little alcove, I needed something flexible, obedient, and preferably incapable of talking back. This peel and stick trim seemed a suitable solution, but I've been burned before by adhesives and dreams, so I reinforced it with a nail gun and a heavy smattering of caulk. I finally found the perfect wood decal after countless seconds of scrolling through eBay, and I framed it in more of that obedient trim. The decal just happened to come in a bulk pack of other trims, so I painted those too, littering every corner with opulence because, as a wise me once said, if something's worth doing, then it's worth overdoing. If you want decadent trim boxes on your wall but aren't much into calculations, just pick one piece of wood and then hold it. You have eyes. Then slice your trim sticks to match those lengths, cutting on exact diagonal degree angles. But see, I needed something a bit more aggressively fancy than just rectangles over and over. I needed every other box to trip you up like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to see the shape of a giant toenail clipping coming off a giant toenail. To pull this off, you'll want to take your measuring stick and curse it to heck. A long string in the steady hand of a precious father is all you'll need. Tie a pencil to one end and draw a gently tapering curve. Then you'll stick some bendy trim along that curve and make a corresponding curve one hand's width above it. Then voila, or as the French say, voila. This chandelier had been sitting on my bathroom floor for ages, as had these sconces, or as a baker would call them, scones, or as the French would say, croissants. This room is one of only two in my house with the original 1880s flooring. Thus, I wanted to enshrine the 140 years worth of scratches and pea stains under a protective layer of rejuvenate. So I did. Now at nighttime, I put the chickens in a coop in my basement to keep them safe, but this night I heard a sound, went down to find that Walda had escaped the coop and was swinging on a cord. How cute! I found this chair for $15 at Goodwill, and it was evidently refurbished by the 1980s ancestors of 5-minute crafts. The air quotes cushion was half a pillow covered in fabric that was taped to an uneven wooden base. Replacing all of that was hard work, and I ardently craved a shower. But when I tried to take one, I found that there was no hot water, and in fact, that went on for days. I endured nearly a week of tepid bathing before we finally realized that the hot water heater was powered by this cord. And little 2-ton Tina here was so heavy she unplugged it. Remember this cheeky little credenza from my 2019 bedroom? Well, in an effort to cleanse myself of and atone for my previous sin of painting wood with chalk paint, I painted it some more, but this time it turned out absolutely fantastic. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but...
This song is one I wrote myself. It's about humility. Let's go.
I was at Restore and I found a $50 answer to a lifelong dream, and that was to have a trundle bed, not a trundle bread. Can you imagine? You like get a loaf of bread and you pull out more bread from it? Well, I guess that is kind of the general essence of a sliced loaf of bread. I digest. To make neighbor binocular blockers, aka curtains. Wait, oh my gosh, did I ever tell you guys about how when I was little at night, I used to actually, well, hold on. So I was sewing fringe onto my valance, and then I hear a rummaging in my pile of fabric, and I was like, Garion, what are you doing in there? Start pulling the fabric away, and I hear from behind me that. And just as I realized, if Garion's behind me, what am I uncovering right now? Oh, popsicle bat. No peace. Case in point as to why I need a canopy bed. In the meantime, I bought this net tent online. It's a bit more Boy Scout than Princess, but it brought me peace. You know that thing that happens when a girl vents and a guy gives solutions? Well, I was grateful for it the night that I complained my walls were too bland, and Dan sat down and sketched these. Then he inserted them into this noisy, clunky ancient relic, and for joy, they appeared on mine wall. We tag team traced them while listening to the Sinner's soundtrack. We have the best date nights. Oh yeah, as I was starting to tell you earlier, when I was little and I was going to bed, well, my bed was up against this window that faced the street, and I kept a laser pointer on my windowsill, and I would shine it into the kitchen of the house across the street. And I actually did this for like 2 years before any of them ever actually noticed. But I tell you, you cannot fathom the elation in my 10-year-old heart that sweet June night when their eldest son, home from college, slapped that dang refrigerator. Here I am making what was supposed to be a reversible cushion for the darling little alcove, but I ripped the floral side trying to get the cushion in, so now it's like my LASIK eye surgery. Irreversible. There are days when I miss not being able to see. Like the day I saw this Instagram reel. Curse you, Filatowski Eye Institute. But you know what, actually bless you, because I'm quite fortunate to be able to see how well this curtain I made turned out. Can we just talk about how freaking gorgeous this room is becoming?
Humility. Let's go.
A common theme I noticed in my reference photos were these cylindrical pillows, traditionally referred to as Pringle can cushions. Well, it turns out they're wildly expensive, with a single insert costing over $50. And I already blew my month's pillow budget on this pillow lip that I got from the dermatologist, which healed nicely, by the way. What were we talking about? Yeah, so I made those pillows from scratch, using mattress toppers that were being thrown out of a college dorm room a couple towns away, stuffing it with all manner of fluff, then hand sewing it shut with an invisible stitch. They came out looking passable, if smelling a bit like finals week stress, sweat, and hangovers.
Now, I've got this dream that's been festering within me my whole life, and that is to have a canopy. Now, my dad, knowing about this dream, decided to make one and surprise me with it.
I knew you'd been overworked and needed help. Wanted to help you with the canopy. Just take a look.
But unfortunately, it just wasn't Rococo enough. And it just wouldn't serve the purpose for which I need it, which is protection from the elements. Now, I really have no idea how I'm going to do this. Let's try to make a canopy.
Now, there are a plethora of historical canopy options to choose from, and when I say I'm inspired by Marie-Antoinette's bedroom, I don't mean her palace bedroom so much as her vacation home bedroom. And when I say Marie Antoinette, I don't mean Marie Antoinette so much as Kirsten Dunst. Here's a reference photo that I thought seemed especially doable. Wait a second. Does that look like a lampshade to you? Heck, let's go with it. First, I traced my lampshade onto a wooden base, then cut it out. You know, people are always saying, why don't you use safety glasses when you use saws? To which I say, that's what my eyelids are for. I close my eyes when I saw. And then those people say, put on safety glasses. You can't saw with your eyes closed. And then I say, gosh, Dad, let me live my life. I stabbed an abundance of holes along the bottom of my lampshade, then coiled wire through it to adhere it to the base. I pleat stapled some fabric onto that base, then folded it up into the top of the lampshade and sewed it in place. And it somehow took it from looking like a lampshade to looking even more like a lampshade. I then flipped it over and attached 4 96-inch curtain panels using a pneumatic stapler, accidentally treating myself to a manicure involving a staple lodged in between my nail and finger. I know such an in-depth treatment is usually reserved for spa guests at fancy resorts like Guantanamo Bay, but I thought I'd treat myself at home. Before drilling hooks into my ceiling, I reinforced them with these anchors, lest they crumble out and the whole canopy fall on me. Survey: would you rather a heavy canopy fall on you or a light can of pee fall on you? Anyway, no Marie-Antoinette/Kirsten Dunst/bird-themed room would be complete without some plumage. Next, since I didn't have much room left in my dresser for fabric scraps, I had to use the leftover carcasses from my neighbor binocular blockers, aka curtains, to make some reversible pillows. Wow, what joyous fun it is to flip these around. Pillow? More like Thrillo. At this point, Dan saw the progress in my room, and I could tell he really relished the sight of it.
Wow. Yeah, you crushed it.
Then I told him if you have time to relish, you have time to embellish, so he drew swirls on the box we missed earlier. Then the Lord saw fit to reward our work ethic with a win from the cat lottery. Sweet D'Artagnan found us in Dan's backyard and stayed with us for a couple joyous days. But due to the existence of a cursed affliction known as allergies, we had to rehome him with Dan's sister. All in all, it was a much more precious experience than when the snake lottery chose us. This bodacious eastern fox snake refused to get out of the middle of the road, and finally, after witnessing 3 cars almost run him over, Dan acted the part of the Good Samaritan, or a Serpentinarian, and escorted him to safety.
These are in Ohio?
Have I ever mentioned that Dan's the best? Not only is he nice to me literally every day, but he occasionally makes me beautiful art. Like this portrait of Garion, who happens to hate Dan with a passionate, vehement jealousy, but like any good stepfather, Dan won't give up on him.
What do you think?
Now, I was unsure of what to do with this antique stand here, but then I found this yard swan, painted it gold to match, and now I have a... Yep, you guessed it. These here are framed pictures of the most beautiful person in the world, but you'll only see them if you stand directly in front of one. Wink, wink. The room wasn't quite done, but it was done enough for Valerie to film the last shots of her music video in it, which I'll be sure to link in the description. I twas about to go shopping for an oval frame, but I checked my basement first on a whim, and there I found a box of oval frames. This is a relief, because now, when I get work done in here, I can legally call it the Oval Office. It's been a month since we checked the chicken's whipped cream response. Let's try again.
Oh, chicken!
While downstairs, I found this fringe, which needed a host, and my grandma's old chair, which I think already is a host. A rug to further protect and enshrine the scratches and stain, and ladies and gentlemen, I think we're ready for a grand... Oh, actually, as it is customary for the lady of the house to wear an outfit matching each room she's in, I used more of that curtain scrap to formulate myself a bubble skirt. And now, at last, I think we're ready for the grand reveal. Have you come to watch me dance? Oh, never. Come in.
Oh, this? Just my humble little gilded nap chamber. Oh, honey, you look tired as a fox that's tired. Would you like to nap too? There. I promise I'll try not to fall on you. Bats? Rabies? Not today. You might want to get vaccinated though, because it doesn't cover your part. Do you like my painting? Do you like my lamp? Do you like my French accent? Do you like my bird? Do you like my alcove? Do you like my clock? I can barely tell time because I'm dyslexic. Doesn't that have a nice ring to it? This is what the room looks like at nighttime. Oh, friend, you look like you could use a snack. Would you like to watch me dance? Some of the time. Excuse me, Grandma. This is a cranny where I keep all my memories, and this is a chair that I use for my hot air balloon viewing deck. Don't believe me? Roll that beautiful bean footage. Now, aren't you humiliated? It's okay, we've all been there. This is my favorite spot. It makes me tempted to quote, "Let them eat cake," but I've seen 2 queens lose their reputation over that remark. Well, that's all, and I want you to have a good day. And I sincerely beg you, please do not forget to check out ThredUp. You'll shop hundreds of brands for a fraction of the price all in one place. Tap my link, use my code Micarah50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Ciao. That's how Marie-Antoinette would say goodbye if she was Italian. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you,